Hello, this is James Lopes with Rise Star Church Evening, the World Out and About. The name of this one is Third Party Well Arrangements. Uh, really, this is calling it in reference to all third party, according to the word, maybe up and coming free enterprise system uh, correlating to be authorized Rise Star Church offering businesses and such. And the um, coupling economy. The calling out really to all the rich surveillances. I talk about different things, like for instance, not too long ago, it was like complete. We got keep on moving. We got this section under control. Nothing to see here. The line move along. Actually, we're part of the government, we the people thing. And not too long ago, the suffering business of extorting taxpayers, maybe too much concentrating on such things. Anyway, um, was in aspect of instilling fear and hate, which is war, lies and cheats, and result of um, the whole issue of sexual children in the veil of things. Uh, tried abstinence all we could, but it's either we become lying cheats on whoever they're supposed to be controlled by, or they're at a public well deal. Have to be considered adult and go through the training as the adults should have had, but now they do by Rise Star Church in how to treat people in and out of a veil for the security of a natural rise star and such, getting in the foundation where it belongs. So uh, this is to behoove you to understand the necessity and to understand the proclamation of Revelation of exactly the end results that are always going to happen if kept hidden in such formats of division that these uh, these children that would be hidden in a format of line sheet would only be making line sheets, especially when they're older, with other older making line sheets. And in a format also destroying some Americans for profits to extort others in that division um, instead of uh, the lost my train of thought a second. The having the necessity for children not to affect all other children because we aren't dividing the difference between them, and they would do the same making line sheets and unnatural lifestyle, even if um, happened to, in Rise Star happened prematurely in some whatever method of creation at the moment. Either way, they're in the Veil Network. Either way, they understand, and they need to understand all the possibilities and determine the will of the person and understand the importance of the division when Rise Star is made and the education. So one sexually understanding perception receptive child doesn't affect other ones and make them unnatural stuff. And that education is projected in all mature America in a format that one isn't used to extort and uh, create more problems with problems. Uh, tax against taxpayers and against other supposed to be mature America while they're being haramized in that fashion for select groups, and which would be an easy tool where they would want to send them hidden line sheets to you as a in the veil to affect ones outside of the veil to be early rise star instead of natural rise star in a format if they wanted to condition them for haramizing, dividing Americans and such. These things here, if you understand. If you don't, we're moving along. We're asking a question. Any which way. What we wanted to do, back to the main concept, was before it was just fear and hate and still the kids were sexually active, but the schisms were all the same. How we grew up and how we were in school and when we were kids and all the kids that were having sex around us in a line G format to their parents or whoever. And the same format as adults with their own children going, well, I'll never do it, but I hope she doesn't do what I did when I was then they find out later, oh, she did, so I think, but I don't talk to her about it. Yeah, if you weren't there, that's what mini dates are for anyway. This education and being part of it, not being the first one they lie, cheat on, such things. So we're taking care of all these issues. There was a lot there put. But any which way, behooves you to understand that there's a public well in the education of these things and understanding the needed division of Rise Star into making sure that no affecting and we keep the proper veiling for natural Rise Star. And ones that are already Rise Star are used to divide Americans in a more concentrated on profits and creating more destruction from us, since that was the old systems of our fathers and such thing. So it behooves you, I'm sure, as third-party millionaires are already working on with their stuff, already working on arranging offerings and everything like that. And you don't have to sit around Rise Star Church too long with your surveillance to figure out that, well, whatever's causing you probably some kind of dictatorship of they can't love yet thing going on. That there's a bunch of people with the ill perceptions, the vampirism of the medical field aspect I talk about in the writ, where they're just they're gathering all the little tweaked out of the moral basis or all this stupid around Rise Star Church. It's great when they watch in the mirror and look at, hey, look at all the time he wastes and he's not doing anything and what a waste of time. But really it's some perception arrangement. Other than the only reason and our only job and the things we concentrate on about Rise Star Church and their sabotaging, they're plugging up our well with their lower perception, dictating thing. This is freedom well. That's why. This is education well. That's why back again was fear and hate still. Oh, they exist. There's those natural schisms I talked about. Oh, geez. We need the proper education so they don't affect the other ones. Natural Rise Star, they're not dividing ones with some dictator harem group. public well. Guess what? The veil completely backwards from the old system. Unconditional love reasons, or 100% truth. You can easily tell by the priest won't take any that are lying cheat format. That's opposite. If I have to prayer in your face, what offering, what business? I'll just think to myself in senseless indirect, what problem, and walk away. Not in a veil. Too fake for public. Well, where the education's at. So any which way, we went from that progression to hate, fear, and still to, oh, they exist, oh, there's a place publicly for the education so it doesn't cause problems that we've had. And we have, because it's not fully established from the perception of let's gather a vampire nest. Any which way, now it's going to move into a perception of 8 years ago they put the little reverse veil of a thing of a sword and of a, well, that's why I talk about free enterprise clean thing, because some might love to tell you that my business is not a business because they want to use it behind your back, steal it from me while you're at it. You fall for it, you're much more of an idiot, I guess. You cause someone to dictate over me, thus you're dictated over. Any which way, this arrangements, in other words, back to the well arrangements, you're going to see a lot of people wasting our time. I'm never wasting my time. Any which way, the also for families and people with children, and you really need to understand about Natural Rise Star. You got the education, you'll know where it's at, it's the public well. But at the same thing, you do not want the backwards veil that was created about 8 years ago and put in little secret formats, making more like chi haremized, keeping suffering business to affect yours unnaturally. So they might want them for a harem thing. Yeah, so it's very important for you that you don't, what we're transitioning from is the hidden everywhere thing to affect ours the wrong way. To no, it's only in the public spot. Or I already put marriage little ones in there for you. You can just have them see what they understand about it. Get married, come about a well thing, because it's the only public spot where you cause problems, and we're going to proclaim the problem, but there's not going to be the hidden manipulating problems in there. So we can't have them hidden everywhere. So they got their surveillance, I said, in your own towns, but not around Rise Star Church. At events, I mentioned that in the writ. Having my offering circles without me there as the half an hour, 500 feet. That's not even including me in many ways, but it's the, like I expressed, we can't have, which is why I know by revelation that America's going to agree. If not now, you eventually will with the other information you'll understand that I've given. But we don't want Vegas everywhere, especially regarding children. Definitely not hidden. And that's why I travel, so they can come around in their particular states for their offering time. Because we have to get to the wastes of time. Pick love over one, would you? Any which way, use your surveillance in your towns, those events. Definitely the heat imaging stuff for the public doctor's offices, things of that nature. You'll want little exams. That's not no. There's a lot of people in America that don't think. Well, I did also put a little segment on overpaid teachers anyway. But I know you might have worked a little hard at it, but there's plenty of the rest of America also that agrees that someone concentrating on schoolwork and controlling stuff and things isn't sometimes the best to help determine and teach love to individuals, especially since through this revelation, of course, like I said, make them lying, cheats, use, and haremizing and destroying others by their dream, whether they realize it or not. That's phone. Any which way, what we're doing, and that's back to the whole aspect of what I started this with, the third party well arrangement. And it happens just in perception because, like I said, in which is best according to the not everywhere, one hidden affecting us in the wrong way in the proclaimed well that where the education happens uh, by the Holy Spirit, by God, by some arrangements, but at least it's not uh, someone telling somebody else that they love more or they know love better. We'll let the Holy Spirit word it with action determine that edifies and doesn't cause scasms in the body and such. So the whole thing is to go by what I expressed in the marriage little ones format, which really is how it was projected before, so we can be more real about it without a little fake everywhere, backwards fail deal going on anyway. That, you know, we're supposed to mold the minds of these little ones and getting their moral bases and learn respect and love and become great leaders in life. So, plain and simple, no, you're not going to be a lying cheat somewhere either. You are going to be, which they do already anyway. It's just going to apply to all the elite ones that they would have looked past before without people having knowledge of such. Which, you're not going to be around a well, charge, or hospital. Of course, according to Game Reserve Vale, we have the uh, the split between the felony label deal if you get my hit. But any which way, get married, little one. No lying cheat. If it doesn't apply to the other basis of legality I said that's everywhere else around, not around Rise Star Church, charge or hospital stay. What would you like since you're not getting married? It's how it was funneled before. They're just making it obvious now. But it's really good because it applies. It doesn't apply to everybody now around a well, public well. So the common man is like the elite was before at the well of freedom. But away from the well of freedom, it applies to those that were all hiding it before, making lying cheats and suffering divisions for extortion. So guess what? And that's what we're being accountable with, third party doing the well arrangements with your surveillances and things, and events and in these places, and holding them to, well, hey, I wasn't around a lot. This better be a wedding. This a wedding? There'd be a wedding because there's not around a well. So either it's going on the internet in some funny name, or there's going to be a charge and maybe a hospital stay and stuff. And then figure out things. So you can either get married or go to a well. Because we're guaranteeing our future of natural rise star and not manipulating foes created. If this is all understood, which it will be, the thing that goes on, then we'll stick to that thing, and of course we'll have more of the freedom and the little transitioning of this little aspect of things, and well, in one aspect, which I'll get into more singly regarding the children before, they don't have to be foes, they don't have to be righteous, they can be real in one spot, even if they still have a little bit of, because they're probably working with some ones to be natural rise star outside of the veil, they're super spy and they're spy, but they have to do it only in one spot now, but they can be real there, and then they can have their job division when they're away from rise star and have their offerings time. And then the other ones, well, it was used to fear and hate and extort and divide, haramizing a lead from calling me a lower class type of thing. Oh no, I'm going to make sure that it is at the public well and not hidden anywhere in my city. Mentality that you need to make sure. Some are going to sit there and go, okay, well, if they're around, they got to be in one spot. So, we work on chastity here. You can be moral issue on that one. It makes sense for that type of person, and it's definitely going to make sense for the other type of persons. Like oh yeah, there's some, that one's really freaking hot. I can't wait till it's green around Rise Star Church thing deal. I don't have to worry about somebody trying to pull some control factor of are you become control the lead in our little prison we made for ourselves, or are you going to be our product in a box for a little bit with a label that messes things up for you and everybody else. No, you're going to want them all around in one spot, so it's equal. You have just as much right to show love since you know and understand this stuff as any kind of education that brought His Holy Spirit with law, His love. So, well arrangements, just make sure all the sexually active, sum it up, sexually active kids are around Rise Star Church, proper education's going, there's no hidden anywhere. We're realizing the tricks are for kids. The last dash is truly a last dash because there's not a dividing like I'm special over here with me. They were just idiots, so I can make them suffer the rest of their life and extort these ones. I instilled this secret of mine to pay taxes for the one I make suffer and make worse for them thing. So make sure the well arrangements are pure and for the hard and natural Rise Star. God bless Rise Star Church.